trying to travel to Peru. As he heard about the coincidences and the manuscripts from his an ex-girlfriend, Charlene. Whenever she's thinking about this manuscript, she is always remembering him because he used to show some curious when they were together. So whenever she's hearing about this manuscript, she wanted to because she's able to meet him, or she's able to remember him all the time. So when she's traveling to Virginia or somewhere, she had a short layover in Florida, so she called him and then asked him to come to airport. So they met, and we have seen how the incidents has happened. And after that incident, and after she left to her destination, Virginia, and this guy, when he comes back to home, and he saw that there is just the commercial which came in his which came his post, right? So he got in his mail. So he saw some Peru things, and so suddenly, because he called them, because there is a number, he called them, and they said, like, if you can come a couple of hours, then they give a better deal. So that's how he started going to Peru. His journey started that he wanted to go to Peru. He immediately grabbed some clothes, whatever those are available, and he tried to go to the Peru. That's where we stopped last session. At the first chapter of the book is that. Okay. Now let us see what is happening. So that is what now the current moment, right? So in the current moment, he feels like he is going to Peru and grabbed some few things, and he went to the airport, and he just had the time because only the couple of hours is there, right? So he just went there, and he got the ticket, and once he got the ticket, he went to flight. He went to flight and then started his journey. So once he went back into the flight, then he's thinking, what is this? Why I came here? Is there any use of it? Is there any use of it? Why I suddenly took this decision that I need to go to the Peru? So he wanted to take a nap, but he's saying that even though he stretched his eyes and closed his eyes, he found that he couldn't relax. Okay, he felt so nervous because why I have taken this sudden trip, right? It was all sudden, no preparation, nothing. He didn't think of just before he met the Charlene, he didn't think that he will be going to Peru. So he's thinking now, after getting into the plane, he's thinking, where would I go? To whom to talk? How I can find out this manuscript? So all these questions, it is occurring in his mind. Is this the coincidence that is the confidence that he has had, like when he is with the Charlene, right? He had some kind of confidence and he wanted to go and do something, but that confidence is fading out. And he's back into his skepticism. Is it true? Why should I do that? That kind of thing, right? The first insight, what is the first insight that he heard from Charlene is the idea of the cultural transformation. That's why, right? The idea, once you started observing your what do you say? Once you started observing your coincidences, and once you started observing that kind of things that are happening in your life, he is saying that the cultural transformation will happen. So is this? It's kind of a fascination. So is this the fascination? How does, if one can observe every coincidence, and how does a people can fascinate and change their culture itself? So is it not fascinating thing? Is it not unrealistic thing? That's what he's thinking about himself. Initially, when the Charlene talked about all those things, then he feels so excited. So he jumped into the plane, but now he's thinking it seems to be very unrealistic, and second insight seems to be more unlikely that is happening. What is the new historical perspective, right? So the second insight, how could a new historical perspective institutes our perception of these coincidences and keep them conscious in the public mind. How do they do it? Once, even one or two people, if they have these coincidences, how do they insist these things into the public mind? How do these coincidences help? So that's how he's actually thinking about it. So he stretched further back, and maybe it is a useless trip. Maybe I just go to the Peru and I may run back. Maybe perhaps some money was waste of money. So he's all thinking all these things. And meanwhile, the plane got jerked into the runway, and then he closed his eyes because the plane, when he said jerked from the runway to flying off, right? He has some kind of dizziness, and then when the plane steady, the critical mass, when it reached the plane, right? So the plane was steady in the thick, after the crossing the thick clouds. Okay, 30 to 40 minutes, the turbulence, whatever the turbulence was done, and he woke up. He woke up from the thing, and he decided to use his restroom, and then he went to the launch place. Maybe use the launch area means maybe that there is a place where you can just have snacks and drinks, right? So that could be the area. He noticed a tall man there with the round glasses near the window and talking to the flight attendant. So he's talking. He glanced at him, saying that maybe I know him, kind of thing, right? But when he closely looked at him, he said that he think that he doesn't know him. Okay, so he concluded that he doesn't know, and he walked away. But the only thing is, he heard a part of his conversation. Okay, I just thought that since you are traveling to Peru so often, that perhaps you have heard something about manuscript. That's what the man is asking. So the one man is asking, okay, you because you are a regular traveler, do you know about the manuscript? That's what he overheard their conversation. He was like kind of dumbstruck, because this is what he is also going, right? He's also going to learn about these manuscripts only, and he heard the same thing. So I walked into the restroom, and then he tried to decide what to do. So part of me want to forget it, because he don't want to think about all this manuscript and all. So he just wanted to, probably he's maybe talking about different manuscripts. Let's forget it. And part of him is saying that what if they're talking about the same manuscript, and if I don't find out, I may be missing something. So he is like, he has some kind of excitement, he has some kind of resentment, like why I started this kind of thing, right? So if I don't inquire, then I may be missing something, that kind of thing. If I inquire, okay, why unnecessarily these things, this kind of thing is going on. But after several minutes, finally he stood up and he walked into the guy. He wanted to ask something, so he walked into the guy, and he saw that there's a back seat, there's a free seat is there. He sat, and he just said, touched his shoulder and asked, in the midway of the air, right? Tapped his shoulder, excuse me, I heard you mentioned about that manuscript. So were you speaking about that one found in Peru? That's what he asked. I heard that you are talking about manuscript. Is that the same thing that is found in Peru? He asked. He shook this. Yes, that was the manuscript that I'm talking about. So that was a coincidence, but still, whatever that he's going, and somebody is talking about the same manuscript in the flight, isn't it a kind of a coincidence? He felt it, right? So then so he introduced himself to be and explained why that he has recently went to Peru, and one of his friend went to, because the Shaolin, right? So he explained to him that one of my friend went to Peru, and she found out that there is a first and second insights. He visibly she believed that, and he is also going to the same thing. Then the other guy, he introduced himself as he is a Wayne Dobson. He is none other than the Wayne Dobson, and an assistant professor of the history from the New York University. That's what he introduced himself. So the other person is historian or history professor from the New York University, and his name is Wayne Dobson. As we spoke, there is a irritation coming to the gentleman that is sitting, because these people are talking in the flight, and somebody else. So we always see that, right? So that guy, the friend, whoever is Dobson, for professor, he asked, I know I'm disturbing you. Can we exchange the seats? And they exchanged the seats. So that these two people came side by side. So now he's saying that, what do you know about the manuscript? He said, I know the first insight because my friend said about the first inscript. So what is all about the first insight? Tell me about what you heard about the first insight. Then he said, first insight is talking about an awareness of the mysterious occurrences that change one's life and the feeling that some other process is operating. Okay, this is what, because we'll go slowly one by one instead of just rushing it up. The first insight only, even if I'm not able to touch the second insight, it's okay. Let us analyze here. What is the first insight that our hero has understood? I guess the first insight is awareness of the mysterious occurrences. Awareness of mysterious occurrences that change one's life. The feeling that some other process is operating. There is some mysterious occurrences are happening in your life, and you are feeling that you are not operating your life. Something else, some other force is operating in your life. That kind of thing, right? That's what is the first insight. So once you actually observe, once you actually notice that, what will happen is, so when something else is operating, or when some you will not be actually worried, or you will be able to observe each and every occurrence very carefully. You will be in that present moment, you will be observing and you will be analyzing it. Okay, that's how it is happening. So I felt so absurd, isn't it? That's what he's asking. He's saying that I felt so absurd, isn't it? But the Dobson, because professor also believed, right? So, it was a kind of discomfort. And what do you think of that insight? He asked. Okay. He said, the hero said, no, I don't know. This is what my friend told about the first insight. It does not quite fit into the modern day of common sense. Whatever the modern day, it is not fitting it. Won't you feel better to dismissing the whole idea of in a practical manners? Then he laughed and nodded affirmatively. Oh, no, so even the professor told, do you think that this is a waste and in this modern world, and can we dismiss this world? And this guy also, because of the same thing, right, he nodded, he said yes, it could be the thing. So what do you then it no, that's everyone's tendency. That is what the everyone tendency. When something came up, even though we occasionally have the clear insight, something more into in our life, our habitual way of thinking is to consider such a ideas unknowable and then shun off the awareness altogether. So when something came up in your life, you try to avoid it. Suppose the shun off your awareness totally altogether. So you will not be. You don't want to be in that awareness. That's why the second insight is necessary. That's what he's saying. Once we see the historical background of our awareness, it seems to be more valid. If you see, like, because when you are not come to the spiritual world, means when you are not into the awareness, I can say, if you, this seems to be so trash. But once you are into this world, once you started believing it, you will see the history of the things that has happened. Because once you understand this kind of thing, right? I'll just take an example, because you all know that I just went to the Peru last week. This time I was there. The total 9 days we have spent, and we came back. So as I read the book, entire book, and I'm trying to apply the principles, at least, because this is the book that inspired me to go there and see that, right? So whenever all the incidents that has happened, from the idea of, because the 4 girls, we started like going to Peru. We just mobilized the 4 people and wanted to go. And then we thought, like, okay, nobody is doing this tour. Why can't we extend to other friends also, extended friends also, and started. So we must have given this invitation to so many people, but there are 12 people who came together, and they are all of, actually, if I think all the things beforehand, I would not have gone, because taken a step also, because these people are so different ages, different phases of their life, different health conditions, different fitness levels, all are different, but all are trying to do the same thing. There we had fixed an itinerary, we had a guide, and we just going, right? So from the moment we started, if I'm just reading this book, what are all the coincidences, if I take, right, how it is happening, each and every incident. So I'll just quote a very simple incident. in the trip, right? So while we are in the trip, because you consider this trip as a spiritual trip, and but whenever whoever is actually wanted to come, say they join, and one girl is always talking about something about her personal life, what she wanted to achieve, what she got in her life, and all those things. She's talking the great achievements of her life, the physical properties, physical things, physical all the things. So while I'm thinking about why this girl, actually, instead of thinking in the previous me, without all this awareness, I would have think that, oh, coming to the spiritual trip, what is this nonsense that she's talking? That's how we must have thought about it. But when they come, right, what would have been? So your thinking process will change whenever you understand this awareness. Whenever you are actually able to see these things, your thinking process will change. What is that it came to me to teach me. That's how you will say, right? You will feel, right? When she actually trying to say all the things, definitely nobody likes it. People are there thinking that why she is actually posing up all her life here. This is not the place to come and give all these things. So when this is not the place, why she's talking? So in my perspective, after reading all these things, I'm just thinking about why she's talking this. What is that we need to learn? What is that? What could be the factor? So once I started thinking it, so what I understood is at that moment, what I understood is maybe she has a lack of something in some other place and she wanted to try to pose the things. So that could be the reason. I just left it there. Later, she herself has explained that, oh, in my life, I have faced so much struggles. Because when after the meditation in the Machu Picchu, so she is explaining these things after that. So I have faced many challenges in my life, and then this is what now I achieved. So if somebody is challenging me that you cannot do it, I will do it. That's kind of that is a kind of mentality that I have. That's what she mentioned when she's talking, right? So that time I realized, so what you want, right? Whatever the thought you released, whatever the thought we are releasing, that will only come true. So because she's struggling, she released the thought that she wanted to become kind of a luxurious things, having all that thing. That's what she wished for. So after her marriage, she got all the things. Okay, so at the same time, I contemplated in my life. So what I want, whenever there is a thought comes to my marriage, I always wished for, I want a freedom. I want a man to be there in my life. Whatever I want to do it, I just let me do it. That kind of thing, right? So that thing only will come. So your thought, whatever you are releasing that thought, it is actually happening. It is only is happening or it is only granting. So be wise or be careful when what you are wishing for, right? So these are the things. Now she's cribbing about, oh, I don't have a freedom. But maybe I may crib about, oh, I don't have that much money. I just need to work hard for every day. So if we are actually cribbing about, then there is no use, because whatever that we wished for, it came to our lives. So that is what the coincidence here coming to that is the whatever we wish for, or what is our thinking is coming to destiny. But why I quoted this example here is the coincidences, right? So when you are having something, so this particular incident happened in front of me to teach something. So some coincidence is happening. If to get that kind of understanding, right? If something is happening in our life, it is nothing but what we wished for in some time back only. It is not like it's happening. Even our hero, he went to the Peru. He started the journey Peru because sometime back in his college days, if he thinks now, he is thinking that why am I in the world that I came to this on this journey, because just because Charlene told why I came, I don't want to be here. Maybe money waste, maybe time waste, all these things he is thinking. But in his college days, he is that person that he believes all these things, and he wanted to go and he wanted to have research about it. Because of that, whenever Shalin is talking or thinking about manuscript, this man is coming to her mind, and that's how he sent it, right? That's how it's similarly, every incident, every person that we met in our life will have some kind of lesson, some kind of coincidence, some kind of things are happening in our life. Because of that only they are coming into our life. That awareness, what we want to have is that awareness. The first insight is talking about that awareness. Whenever you have that awareness, there is a cultural shift will happen in your life. How does, if you are aware of it, how does the cultural shift is happening? You won't blindly believe on something. Oh, if some bad thing has happened, it's my destiny. No, you will not do that, because you will have that power to change your destiny by thinking good at the things, by working toward things, by releasing the good thoughts. You know that you have that power. That's what we understood from this first instance. Be aware of these things. Whenever you are aware of those things, you will be able to do that. That's the first. That's why we are saying second insight is necessary. So there is a historian. Then, as a historian, you think manuscript's prediction of the global transformation culture accurate? So that is what he's asking. Our hero is asking as a historian, because other professor is a historian, right? So this manuscript prediction of global transformation is accurate. Do you think that global transformation will happen? And is it inaccurate? As a historian, yes. But you have to look the history in a correct way. He's saying that you have to look the history in a correct way, not just the piece, one piece at a time. He took a deep breath and saying that I say that this is as the one who spent a lot of years studying and teaching the history in a wrong way. I used to focus solely on the technological accomplishments of the civilization and the great men who brought about this progress. So we always talk about the civilization or the general. So from our childhood to now, we will say that OTV is like a big dabba in that time. Now it is just like a calendar. So so much technology was evolved. In that time, when we have to call, we have to book a trunk call and then wait and then call. That was those days. Or we have to write a letter, England letter or a card or something like that. You have to write the things and post. So that was the case in those days. But nowadays, instantly you can chat, instantly you can call from a small device. If you have, the entire world is with you. So you are talking about the generations, you are talking about the civilizations in terms of technology, because there are how the technology was brought into the progress. This is only we are talking about. So what is he's asking, what is the wrong about that approach? What's the wrong? Yeah, those are all things that are happening, right? What is the wrong? There's nothing. There's no wrong. But what really important is the world's view of each historical period, what people are feeling and thinking. It is not about the technology only. You also have to think about how people are feeling and how people are thinking. It took me a long time to understand that. Because the technology is a different thing. It took me a long time to understand. History is supposed to provide the knowledge of longer context within which our lives takes place. History is not about just the evolution of technology, it is the evolution of the thought. Remember, history is not about the evolution of the technology, it is evolution of the thought. It took me a long time to understand. He's saying, the professor is saying, took me a long time to understand. It provides, history is supposed to provide the knowledge of longer context within which our lives takes place. Okay. If you are noticing, because usually in the trips we don't notice the things, we are just in hurry. We will go and we will come back. Not only trips, every day we are just in hurry we are doing, right? So but because I went to this trip for a purpose, right? So I'm just noticing each and every person, how I'm reacting, how they are reacting. So because it is connected to the each insight, I'm actually bringing up all those things. So when you go there anywhere, so the moment the beautiful place you saw, what are you doing actually? Anyone can answer? The moment you saw some breathtaking, beautiful place, what are you doing?
These days, I believe it's taking pictures. That's what most people do.
That's what I too noticed, right? So that's what, because I too do it. I'm not saying that I will not do it, but the thing is, when you started noticing with the awareness, more than enjoying the place, more than seeing the beauty of that place, you started picking up your phone and taking the pictures. So here the thought evolution, or what is the technology evolution, what is actually is happening? That's what I noticed, right? Previously, if I look back the history, right? When I do not have the camera, don't you remember that whatever the places that you visited, you remembered it or not? You remembered much more detail, I can say. You must have remembered much more detail, whatever the place you have seen and what is the beauty that you have seen, more than when you are taking a picture. Because once you pull up your camera and taking a picture, you are seeing through that lenses only. You are not seeing the wider view of the wider beauty of the scene. You are seeing through that lenses only. Whatever that lens can capture, only you are able to see. You are forgetting that living in that moment and enjoying the whole beauty. First, enjoy that beauty for a few minutes. Then, if you want to have a memory, click it 1 or 2 pictures. Everybody, so most of the people are busy in taking the pictures, busy in actually taking the selfies with it. I don't know how many of us are actually reminding and seeing those pictures again and again. I'm not sure. So this is the thing that we have to see. Are we actually shifting our focus? Are we actually shifting our thing? Evolution is happening the technology wise, or evolution is happening the thought process wise? Which one is happening? Here he is saying that it is the evolution of the thought. The history should learn history evolution means evolution should happen the thought. But now you could see the history happening only in the technology. So you notice it. Why I'm actually trying to analyze it is, I'm not saying that I'm a 100% perfect thing or anything, but knowing all these things, I'm trying to analyze. I'm trying to be aware in that moment. I'm trying to grab what is actually happening. If in the next place, when I notice that kind of thing, right, next place, I just pushed my camera inside my purse and I never actually opened it, and I'm trying to grab it. How I am feeling. I noticed that how my awareness is happening. That I noticed it, right? So that's how you should actually evolve yourself. So when you notice it, you will remember more, because you have the human brain is a big computer. It can store so many pictures, it can store so many memories. Instead of listening to the guide, instead of listening to the what is happening, instead of noticing the other things, right? If you keep on do these things, then you will not be able to actually focus on the things that you are supposed to. We can see why we look the world the way we do, and what our contribution toward further progress. We can pinpoint where we come in, so to speak, in a longer development of civilization, and that gives us sense of where we are going. This is all he is talking about the second insight, right? History is not just the technology. History is about evolution of thought. I hope you are clear until this. By understanding the reality of the people who come before us, if you are understanding the people who came before us, if you understand them, we can see why we look at the world the way we do it. We can see the why we are actually looking at the world that way we do it, and what is our contribution it towards further progress. Are we actually contributing anything to further progress? We can pinpoint where we come in, so to speak, in a longer development of civilization, and that gives us sense of where we are going. So if you are thinking in these directions, you will get a sense of where we are actually going. The effect of second insight is provided exactly this kind of historical perspective. That is what about the second insight is talking about. At least from the point of view of Western thought, it places the manuscript predictions in a longer context than makes them seem not only plausible but inevitable. So it is longer context that makes the seems not only plausible but inevitable. I asked Debson how many insights that you have been seen and told, and he told me only first two. He found it. He said, after a rumor about manuscript prompted a short trip to Peru 3 weeks ago. So he said, I went to Peru 3 weeks ago and I just know only the first two insights. So once I arrived to Peru, he continued, I met a couple of the people who confirmed the manuscript existence, yet seems to be scared to death to talk much about it. So there are people who told him that if you are talking about manuscript, it will scare to death. You may die also, because the government has done little local thing, right? So they are making it as a political thing, making the physical threats. Whoever is having the copies of that manuscript and whoever whoever has distributing those copies, he was actually, there is a threatening is happening. So his face, the Dobson face is also became serious. That makes him the hero, our hero, right? Is James nervous. But later a waiter at my hotel told me that the priest he knew has happened. So the waiter who told, okay, I know some priest who is talking about the manuscript. So the waiter said he was trying to fight the government to suppress this. Who is suppressing this artifact? So why you are suppressing this artifact? There is a priest in Peru that time, so he is trying to fight against this because this manuscript is giving a lot of good insight. So why are you suppressing it? I could not resist to going in a private and telling where the priest supposedly spent most of his time. So this Dobson want to go and talk to them. So this guy also looking surprised because he also know that Charlene also know that first insight only through that priest, right? So because he was so surprised. So by looking at his face, the Dobson asked Professor Dobson, why are you looking like that? What's wrong with you? Then he replied, one who told me the manuscript learned that she knew from the priest. He is also saying that the Charlene also told, right? She learned from the priest. He couldn't give his name, but he was talking with once about the first insight. She was scheduled to meet with him, but he does not show up. Okay, so this Dobson is also saying same case with me also. For me also the same, because the insights came from him only. Because I could not find him either, because later when he goes to his home, he could not find his heir. The house was locked and looked deserted. So no one is there. So he's asking, you never see him? No, I decided to look around, but I could not see him. There was an old storage building in the back. He said there's an old storage building in the back because somehow somebody told that the priest is having some insights. So the professor went, but the priest is not there. And he saw there is an old storage building at the back and he tried to explore that, right? Then he found the two copy of the first and second insights. There is a copy was left over there, the copy of first and so, you found that? Yes, I found that. So did you bring this insights for this trip? He asked. James asked. No, I didn't bring the insights because I decided to study them thoroughly, and then I left with my colleagues. So he left that insights with the colleagues, and he came to this trip. Could you give me a summary of the second insight? He's asking, could you give me the summary of the second insight? There was a long pause. Oh, guys, yes. Then Ann said, oh, I know. That's why I'm here, because you already know the first insight. I know the second insight. Maybe that's the reason that coincidentally we met here. So the second insight. So here is exactly the second insight is talking about. I'll just quote the second insight and we'll stop because of the lack of time. Puts our current awareness, the second insight is saying, puts our current awareness into the longer historical perspective. Whatever the awareness we have, it is putting you into the longer historical perspective. After all, when the decade of the 90s is over, 90s decade is over, we will be finishing up not only the 20th century, but also the 1,000-year period. We are not just finishing up 1999, 2000 means. It's not that century. We are finishing up the entire 1,000-year period of the history as well. We will be completing the entire second millennium. We are completing second millennium. Before we in the West can understand where we are, what is going to occur next, we must understand what has really been happening during the current 1,000 period. What is happening to us in that current 1,000 period, you need to understand. That's what he's saying. That is what the second insight is talking about, which will make more meaningful in the coming things. What does manuscript say exactly? Is asking. What is that it is saying? It says that the close of the second millennium, that is now, because maybe 2000 data, that's now we will be able to see the entire period of history as a whole. The entire period of history as a whole. We will identify a particular preoccupation that developed during the later half of this millennium. Later half of this millennium, there is a preoccupation developed. We can say that preoccupation, right, is what is happening in the modern age. What is that preoccupation? We always want to live a better life. If you see, right, from our childhood to now, we achieved what you achieved. What we achieved. We got a better job, we got a better home, we got a better car, we got better facilities. which means we know how to live, whatever the living in this thing, right? Better life. Did we evolve our thoughts? That's what he's saying, right? This is called the modern age. Our preoccupation. We are occupied with something or the other. We are occupied. We want to have a better. Suppose we say that not this car, we want this car. Okay, that better car came. You are not actually changing. You are still want to go for the better, best something. So better home, better things, better everywhere. You are actually preoccupied. Our awareness of this coincidence today represents the kind of awakening from this preoccupation. We are, even COVID, I will say, the COVID also came to break this preoccupation. All the time you are preoccupied. All the time, I don't have time for anything. I don't have time for meditation. I don't have time for reading a book. I don't have time for even for my kids. I don't have time for anything. This kind of people we became. So that's the reason that the COVID came to our lives and slowed down everything, because otherwise we are not slowing down. It shuts us off, and it pushed our lives into homes, and then it started like it made us. Maybe the millennium was started a bit this thing, right? So we are not learning. So the universe has given a chance to do that. So are you ready to relive? So he's asking, are you ready to relive the millennium? So we will see that. Sure about like millennium, what has happened. So this is what one thing that I have explained, right? So we became preoccupied in getting better things. So that's where, so if you are actually learning about that thing, right, that we are always happening, we are not living in the present moment, or we are not cherishing the present moment. If you can from the history, if you can see that our thought process will be changed. That is what is expecting in the second insight. I'll stop here because it's already 10 o'clock. We'll continue this chapter next week. Now the time for questions. Any questions?